Here are the questions that I will be answering in this video about forgiveness and compassion. What do forgiveness and compassion mean? And how are they related to our spiritual awakening and development and moving forward? What happens if we lack forgiveness and compassion? How are forgiveness and compassion connected to each other? How does forgiveness and compassion change us? And what part of our energy system is impacted by practicing forgiveness and compassion? If we forgive ourselves, does that mean we are letting go of a relationship and the memories of that experience? If we develop compassion and forgiveness, do we no longer have boundaries? Where are compassion and forgiveness within our feeling awareness, and why is this valuable to know? How often should we practice forgiveness and compassion exercises and meditations? And how do you know when to practice the forgiveness and compassion exercises and meditation again? And how to recognize when there is another layer of forgiveness and compassion to release? And forgiving the unforgivable. I'm Dr. Susan Sophia James, a doctor of behavioral health and integrated medicine and an advanced intuitive and mystic. I've been using these tools for over 25 years, and I've seen long-lasting results and significant changes in people that benefits them greatly. And here are the questions and answers about forgiveness and compassion. What do forgiveness and compassion mean? Forgiveness means to no longer hold on to, with our thoughts and emotions, and within our energy, regret, sorrow, anger, hurt towards an experience or other people, a circumstance, and ourselves. Compassion is a separate element of the process of forgiveness, but it is developed from practicing forgiveness. The more forgiveness is practiced, the easier it is to tap into compassion for other creatures and situations as well as ourselves. What happens if we lack forgiveness and compassion? We're stuck in repeating patterns because the energy from the lack of forgiveness and compassion manifests as thoughts and emotions and behaviors and patterns about the situation, other people, and ourselves. These thought patterns and emotional patterns and behaviors are often beneath conscious awareness, so they're operating without our knowing it. They correlate within us as resonant content that reside within our physical body and our energy system. They also take up emotional and spiritual space within us that keep us from experiencing spaciousness and opportunities to situations, relationships to ourselves, and all other relationships. How are forgiveness and compassion connected? The more forgiveness is practiced, the easier it is to tap into compassion for other creatures and situations as well as ourselves. As I said previously, compassion is a separate element of the process of forgiveness, but it is developed from practicing forgiveness. And the more forgiveness is practiced, the easier it is to tap into compassion for other creatures and situations as well as ourselves. How does forgiveness and compassion change us? When we practice forgiveness and compassion, it helps us release repetitive thoughts, negativity, feeling doom and gloom, having stuck energy resonating at a certain level, and ultimately it gives us a sense of spaciousness that allows space for other feelings and experiences that are uplifting and positive. And it helps us be focused in the power of now because our thoughts and emotions and experiences are not trapped in the past. If we forgive ourselves, does that mean we are letting go of all of a relationship and the memories of that experience? Sometimes people hold on to lack of forgiveness or sorrow or regret or uneasy feelings because they like to stay in the drama, or they don't feel empowered to make a change, or at some level they feel if they let go of the emotional content and the charge of lack of forgiveness, then they lose the connection to the experience. This happens when a relationship has ended or has been lost or someone has died. And also in trauma, we can hold on to the person or whatever it is in love and forgive the situation or circumstance and still hold on to the parts of the person or experience in a way that feels beneficial for us without holding the feelings of lack of forgiveness. If we develop compassion and forgiveness, do we no longer have boundaries? When we develop forgiveness and compassion, this doesn't mean we become a doormat or no longer have boundaries. In fact, it often means that our boundaries change and shift according to the situation. It means that we're empowered to see other options in our relationships towards ourselves and our opportunities. As stated above, different boundaries are often revealed because power has been restored to the person who holds forgiveness and compassion. If we forgive someone, does that mean we need to be around them and allow a repetition of the same experience? When we forgive someone or ourselves, it changes our energy within us, and that means our feelings and our thoughts. Because when we hold on to lack of forgiveness, it's a burden like a blanket that holds us down or holds us back. Then we become freer to move forward. When we truly forgive another person or a situation, then we are not stuck holding the situation consciously or unconsciously. If we are around a person, we can forgive and change the boundaries. The boundaries that change can result in different responses that are not ingrained, which can be a myriad of choices. These responses are not programmed and are not automatic, but relevant to the situation, so they empower the power of now. When we no longer hold lack of forgiveness, we are not a victim, but have choices. So although the situation may appear to be similar, we know there are different options in our responses that empower us. What about forgiving the unforgivable? An unforgivable act can be of betrayal, of murder. It's violence against us. It can be against a culture. It can be acts of heinousness that seem to be beyond what human nature can be capable of. If we look through history, we have seen evidence of unforgivable acts, which are unfortunately part, it seems, of human nature as much a part of developing our compassion and forgiveness. So forgiving the unforgivable means to go into a deeper place to release that trauma that happens today or in the past or in the far past that has afflicted and affected people in their consciousness and in generations upon generations, so that there can be a healing and so that this generation, this now, can respond and take back the energy that was lost to them and to reclaim who they are now so that they can move forward in positive energy. This takes practice and repetition and other people who are willingness to show their support and participation in the same events of forgiving the unforgivable. Where are compassion and forgiveness within our feeling awareness. And why is this valuable to know? Forgiveness and compassion occur in our heart region, and the region of the heart includes the actual physical heart, so the chest, on the front of the body, and the rib cage, which includes the breath, and the diaphragm, which is a physical place across the top of our chest. And the forgiveness and compassion also impact often the quality of our voice. Other areas are our shoulders and on our back that include the scapula, which are also known as the shoulder blades, the ribs, and sometimes into the neck. And when the physical heart is unburdened with forgiveness of ourselves, situations, and others, there is an expansiveness in the chest region, which is a feeling of openness. It's release constriction. There's an allowing of a flow of circulation and energy that can have even a sense of warmth or softness to it. The heart connects to the following emotions to ourselves and situations and other people. So there is negative and what we would consider positive feeling awareness connected with the heart, which are anger, betrayal, lack of trust, grief, sadness, despair, depression, anxiety, denial, allowing to receive and give, trust, love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, willingness, and consideration. And these all impact inspiration, insight, creativity, and intuition. When we release lack of forgiveness, our compassion for ourselves is strengthened as well as for other people's circumstances and creatures. This gives us spaciousness for our awareness that leads us to our path, that connects to our purpose, and to experience joy and a range of feelings. So essentially, it releases being trapped in a certain pattern of negative awareness. Lack of forgiveness keeps us from this range of feelings and experiences. What part of our energy system is impacted by practicing forgiveness and compassion? So as I mentioned previously, the emotions and the area of forgiveness and compassion are in the heart region, which also includes the diaphragm and breath related to the solar plexus, as well as to the throat related to communication, sending and receiving and sustaining information. In our energy system, in the auric field, the impact is seen in damage to the secondary auric field when there's lack of forgiveness that has a more of a complicated response that implicates other chakra systems and parts of the secondary auric field. And the chakras involved with forgiveness and compassion are the heart chakra, the solar plexus, and the throat chakra, as I had mentioned. When there is lack of forgiveness and lack of compassion towards the self and others, there is contraction of the heart chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and the throat chakra. Other responses in the chakra system include fixation in a position is either too open or too closed, and some chakras may fluctuate between being too open and too closed. How often should I practice the forgiveness and compassion meditation? Having designated times of the year to practice forgiveness and compassion can be very useful to know, because then there is a designated time for reflection and developing this deeper layer of being. These times are on our birthday, at the end of the year, seasonally, as in fall, winter, spring, and summer, and often this is easiest to do by correlating that to the summer and winter solstice and the spring and fall equinox. Additional times that are recommended to use forgiveness and compassion that help develop and expand and strengthen it are at the end of each day. This is a practice that can be done with young children as well as with teens and adults. Taking a moment to review what has occurred through the day and going through the practice in the forgiveness and compassion meditation exercise allows the development of recognizing when forgiveness needs to take place and how that can be expanded into the moments of life, and then it becomes second nature. You're likely to discover layers of awareness about forgiveness towards yourself, situations, and other people. And what that means is that we can forgive sometimes part of something, but not the whole thing. Or that we'll learn a year from now there's something about a situation that you thought you forgave that you may not 100% forgave. So the more you do it, the more awareness you have and the more energy you have in the now. We know there's another layer of forgiveness and compassion to develop when we experience a sense of guilt, betrayal, shame, or find ourselves blaming a situation or shutting down. These experiences may present themselves in a form of inner conflict, anger with someone else or at a situation, or a feeling of being stuck in resentment, or a sense of walling ourselves off and not wanting to be around people. To get the Forgiveness and Compassion Meditation Exercise Package, go to Meditations at www.twi.education under Forgiveness and Compassion. Thanks for listening from Transformational Wisdom Institute and Dr. Susan Sophia James.